Just plastic will be fine.
In any Piggly Wiggly or grocery store across the nation, the simple question that makes you want to think and ponder whether or not paper or plastic will be the best outlet for your grocery items. But do you really understand the actual rules of bagging? My experience at working at Piggly Wiggly for about 4 years, I've learned that bagging may look easy to a non-bagger, but there's complexity to every bag you bag. In my simple steps, I will teach you the proper ways to bag your groceries, so next time you're in a grocery line, you can be a bagging pro.
You may think right away that you need to bag all these items, and you might think that it would be easy just to pick a bag. What a smart bagger knows before you bag is to separate each object into a similar group. For instance, you need to remember when you first see soda cans or even big boxes like these, you know right away that they will not fit in a paper or plastic. So moving on, another very important thing to remember is that meats and chemicals. You do not want to put meats and chemicals together. That will probably be a big mess in your bag, and you want them to be separate. So thinking about this, you don't want this together, so think about putting them away from the items. Also, moving on, you want frozen objects grouped together because you don't want them to get warm or to melt. You don't want them to be grouped with warm foods. Vegetables, this is a very important thing to remember. Make sure you know that vegetables, like apples, grapes, they're open to getting germs and easily contaminated. So you want to make sure that they're not grouped with meats or eggs or anything that can necessarily leak on them. Also, boxy items. Think of it like this. Boxy items are easier grouped together. Think of shapes. Think of them being easily grouped together, and it's easier to put them in a bag together. And now, the simplest step I'm going to tell you, heavy and light. That's the last group I'm going to tell you. Make sure you remember heavy like cans or syrup. They're heavy items. You don't want them to end up squashing your bread or your eggs. So just make sure you remember heavy and light must be separated. Now, since I have all my objects grouped, it's time to pick a bag. Second step, pick the bag. But first you have to remember paper or plastic. What bag would be best for your items? A lot of people would say paper. A lot of people would say plastic. A lot of people pick paper because you can fit a lot more items in it, it's more durable, and it's biodegradable. Some people say plastic is better because it has handles, and also it's easy to double bag items and it can fit around items better. Now it's time to bag together, and now that we have picked a bag, and I'm going to start off with paper. So the very next step, which is the third step, we're going to pack heaviest on the bottom and light on top. So I'm going to start off with the cans because cans are usually heavy. Make sure that you put 6 cans only in one paper bag, because if you overpack the cans, it can make the bag very heavy. The next thing I'm going to suggest to you is to make sure you get boxy items. So I'm going to put the cereal in next. After that, a lot of times you want to put your cold food in there too. Paper has a good job of actually incubating the cold food, making sure it stays cold. And then light on top. So you can put lettuce or chips. There we go. But then you think, oh no, I have all this stuff left. That brings us to the fourth step. When this bag gets too overfull or too heavy, or we want to move to the next, it's okay to bring in another paper bag. So we're going to pick heaviest items to light items. So I'm going to say fruit, like the carrots and the bananas and all that stuff. It's pretty heavy. So I'm going to put them in the bag. And then make sure you put things, and make sure you can place it on the side too. Just kind of piece them in. you have to put the light stuff in. So a lot of times, the bread and eggs, if there's a lot of room at the top, or if it doesn't look even, you can test it by putting the eggs on. And if they fit well, they shouldn't be cracked. So, it feels good, and it's good. So that leaves us with the chemicals in the meat, and that's always hard to remember where to put this and what to do. I always suggest that bring in another bag. Put your chemicals in here. Just bring in another bag and put all your chemicals in here, because then it separates the chemicals and they're not near your food. They're not able to contaminate your food. So this is a perfect way to separate. Now, the last step is the meat. A lot of people have problems understanding where does the meat go. I would say the simplest way to make sure the meat doesn't melt or contaminate your food is bring in either another paper bag or a plastic bag, which I'm going to bring a plastic bag because it's easier with today. And that's how you bag pretty much paper. Okay, now that I packed all my items into paper, you might run into a problem, which is the fifth and final step, which is double bagging. But before we double bag, you have to remember, if your items end up being too heavy or there's a chance for your bag to rip, you want to double bag. So I'm going to show you, double bagging is pretty easy. I usually do it like this. I open up the bag, I slide it right in, then I reopen the bag like this, and you double bag paper. Now, after finishing the 7th step, check your bag to make sure that it followed each step correctly by using the very first step by grouping your similar objects together. And moving on to the 2nd step by picking the bag you need if it is paper or plastic that best fits your shopping needs. 3rd step, pack your items carefully. Make sure to remember light on top and heavy on bottom. 4th step, don't overpack items and be very cautious when packing. Also, remember that the 5th and final step is double bagging is okay. After following each of these steps, you will have the perfect bag, so next time you're stuck in line at Target or at the self-checkout line at Walmart, you'll be fully prepared to be able to bag your grocery items so that none of your food will get contaminated or squashed.